Welcome! In this video, I'll be showing you how to roll out a retargeting campaign to your perpetual traffic machine. Retargeting is very simple. It's very easy to set up once you know how it works, but it's also very powerful. Retargeting added about 30% of additional revenue to our business last year, so I really highly recommend setting this up for your perpetual traffic machine as well. So let's go ahead and jump into it. In the last video, we completed setting up the seed traffic portion of our perpetual traffic machine, our Facebook, YouTube, and Google seed traffic. So that's the initial traffic flowing into our website. Inevitably, some of that seed traffic that you're driving to your site is going to leave your website without taking the actions that you want them to take. They're not going to join your list. They're not going to buy anything. They're simply going to leave. And that's where your retargeting campaign will kick into gear. What you can do is set up a retargeting ad that will display on the other websites that that person visits after they leave your site, and that ad will be prompting them to return to your site. It's kind of a weird concept, but that doesn't really matter because the fact is retargeting works. You may have experienced it yourself. I know that I did. When I didn't know what retargeting was, I would go to a website and then leave and go to another website and see an ad prompting me to go back to that original website I was on. And I would think to myself at the time, oh, that's kind of a weird coincidence, but it really isn't a coincidence at all. That's retargeting in action. So your seed traffic and your return traffic together form a truly fully fleshed out perpetual traffic machine. Your seed traffic is the original traffic flowing into your site, some of which of course is going to leak out, but your return traffic is capturing that and sending as much of it back to your site as possible. So you're really maximizing your traffic potential when you have these two key pillars in place. Now, there are lots of networks out there and lots of tools that you can tap into to roll out a retargeting campaign. And that was actually one of the challenges when we sat down for the first time to roll out our first retargeting campaign. We didn't know which tool, which network to use. Through a lot of research and a lot of testing though, we really narrowed it down and realized that the three best include Facebook, the Google Display Network, and also a tool called Perfect Audience. So let's start out by talking about Facebook. So you have your website, and let's say you've set up a few different sources of seed traffic flowing in. Let's say you have traffic coming in from Facebook, YouTube, and maybe a few other places on the web. Well, inevitably, some of that traffic is going to leak away without taking the actions you want them to take. Well, if you have a Facebook retargeting campaign set up and that leaked traffic goes to Facebook, they're going to see an ad for your website prompting them to return. Now you might be wondering, how is this possible? Well, it's all made possible by a little piece of code that you install on your website called the Facebook Pixel. So when you log into your Facebook advertising account, you can grab your Facebook Pixel and install it on your website. And again, it's a little piece of code. And when someone visits your website from any of your seed traffic sources, that pixel will fire and track that person. So when they leave and they go, say, to Facebook, that pixel tells Facebook to show them an ad prompting them to come back to your website. This is how we got started with retargeting, by the way. We just set up a simple Facebook retargeting campaign, and that's how we got our feet wet. It worked out really well, and then we moved on to the Google Display Network. And these days, we actually just use Perfect Audience, but I'll get to that in a little bit. Let's talk next in more detail about the Google Display Network. Let's say that when people leave your website, you don't just want them to see an ad on Facebook, you really want them to see an ad on pretty much any other website that they visit that accepts ads. Well, that's where the Google Display Network comes into play, because they have all of these different websites out there that have joined the network that have said, hey, Google, please display ads on my website. And then Google does profit sharing, and those website owners can earn money for displaying ads on their site. The Google Display Network alone is a way to get near full web coverage for your retargeting ads. And again, the traffic isn't coming from Google itself, it's coming from the partner sites within the network that are displaying your ad. And it works pretty much the same way as Facebook does. You would open up an advertising account with the Google Display Network, you would install Google's Pixel now, and then that Pixel would track all of your visitors that leave your site, and the Google Display Network would communicate with the partner sites to display your ad, prompting those leaked visitors to come back to your site. Now, the third option I mentioned is Perfect Audience. And if you're using Perfect Audience, you don't need to set up a separate retargeting campaign with Facebook and then another retargeting campaign with the Google Display Network. Perfect Audience replaces those things and gives you a centralized place to run your retargeting campaign. So you would simply open up a Perfect Audience account, install the Perfect Audience pixel, and Perfect Audience plugs in to Facebook and it plugs into the Google Display Network and other networks to display your ad pretty much across the entire web. So just to be clear again regarding how these platforms work, when you open up an account at Facebook or the Google Display Network or with just Perfect Audience, you would install your pixel. You would then define your audience, meaning you have to tell these networks who to display your ad to. And then finally, you would load and run your ad. That's really it. So we're really going to drill into these three things and I'll show you how to do them in this video. Now, earlier I talked about full web coverage. There's a couple of different options here for getting pretty much full web coverage for your ad after somebody leaves your website. So you could use Facebook and the Google Display Network together. That's one thing that we've done. In this case, you would install the Facebook pixel, install the Google pixel, define your audience in Facebook, define your audience in Google, set up your ad in Facebook, and set up your ad in Google. So you're doing the same thing essentially in your Facebook account, and you're repeating that with your Google Display Network account. Full web coverage option number 2 is just to use Perfect Audience. In this case, you would install the Perfect Audience pixel and define your audience in Perfect Audience and then set up your ad in Perfect Audience. So again, it's a way to consolidate everything under one roof. So for the remainder of this video, I'll be showing you how to set up a retargeting campaign specifically with Facebook. If you know how to do it with Facebook, you can do it with Perfect Audience, you can do it with the Google Display Network. It's the same process across these different platforms. They just have different interfaces. Facebook also is a great way to get your feet wet with retargeting. So if you've never done this before, this will be, I think, a really helpful tutorial for you. So again, the first step is to install your pixel. So what you want to do is log into your Facebook advertising account and go up to Tools at the top and click on Pixels in the drop-down. And when you get there, click on the Actions button there near the top, and in the drop-down, click on View Pixel Code. And then a pop-up will display, and that little piece of code there that's highlighted in blue, that's your Facebook pixel. So you would take that and you would install it on every single page of your website. Next, after you've installed your pixel, you want to go ahead and define your audience. Now, there are 3 steps to defining your audience, and those include setting your campaign objective, mapping out your ad, and identifying the relevant URLs on your website. So let's start there with step 1, setting your campaign objectives. Now, there are 2 common campaign objectives that we have in our business. The first is to capture leads. So if we have traffic that's come to our website and seen our opt-in forms, maybe on our blog, and or they visited our opt-in page, but then they've left without opting in, well, we want to set up a retargeting campaign to bring them back and get them to opt in. Another common objective is to capture sales. So if we have traffic that's visited one of our product pages but left without purchasing, we want to bring them back to our product page. Now, once you've chosen an objective for your retargeting campaign, you want to move on to step 2, which is mapping out your ad. So let's say that we wanted to set up a retargeting campaign to capture leads, meaning people who came to our website, saw our opt-in forms, and then left without opting in. We want to bring them back and get them to opt in. Well, in this case, we would want to set up an ad that promoted our lead offer. So the lead offer is that thing, that item that you're giving away for free on your opt-in page or via any of your opt-in forms after someone opts in. So on our website, freelancewritingriches.com, we give away something called the Ultimate LinkedIn Client Getting Swipe File, which is basically a free report showing freelance writers how to obtain more clients on LinkedIn. So when someone enters their email address into that form right there, they get instant access to this free report. Now, we not only have this form at the top of our homepage, but we also have it in the sidebar of the blog. We also have it at the bottom of certain blog posts. So it's all over the Freelance Writing Riches blog. And then we've also set up a dedicated opt-in page for this lead offer. You can see the headline there says the ultimate shortcut to getting high-paying writing gigs on LinkedIn. When someone clicks that download now button in the lower right and opts in, they get access to this free download. So if someone visits any of the pages on our blog, or they visit this specific opt-in page and they don't give us their email address, instead they leave and they head over to Facebook, well, we have a retargeting campaign set up where they'll see an ad that looks like this. You can see it says get more high-paying clients using LinkedIn, and that ad links straight to our opt-in page. So again, anyone who leaves without opting in will see this ad on Facebook, prompting them to come back and opt in. Now, in addition to lead capture retargeting campaigns, we also set up sales capture retargeting campaigns. So if you have your own products, you can set up a retargeting campaign like this and increase your sales. So this would be an ad for the product that you want to sell. So if someone comes to our website, for example, and they leave without buying our product called the Ultimate Client Getting Masterclass, and then they go to Facebook, they'll see an ad like this, prompting them to come straight back to the sales page to purchase that product. Moving on now, once you've selected your objective for your retargeting campaign and you've mapped out your ad, the third and final step is to identify the relevant URLs. So when it comes to your retargeting campaign, there's two types of URLs that you need to pay attention to. Number one is called your offer page URL, or this could be even several different URLs if you have an offer on different URLs on your site. And number two is your thank you page URL. So you need to jot these down. So let me show you an example, and this is an example for capturing leads. So our offer again is the LinkedIn client getting swipe file, and our offer page URLs are the blog, because we have opt-in forms all over the freelancewritingriches.com blog. And then we also have a dedicated opt-in page, which is at freelanceinnercircle.com/LinkedIn swipe file. Our thank you page URL is that one displayed there, freelanceinnercircle.com/masterclassvid. So if someone goes to our blog and opts in, or they go to our opt-in page and opt in, afterwards they'll be redirected to that thank you page URL right there. So visually, here's how this looks. We have people coming to freelancewritingriches.com, which again is our blog. They're visiting lots of different pages on that blog, many of which contain an opt-in form. Some of them are also coming to our dedicated opt-in page at freelanceinnercircle.com/LinkedIn swipe file. Those are our two offer pages, which were listed in the last slide. Now, if someone opts in, they'll be redirected to our thank you page, which again is freelanceinnercircle.com/masterclassvid. That also happens to be a sales page for a product that we're selling, but it also serves as our thank you page. But of course, some people aren't making it that far. Instead, they're leaving the blog or they're leaving the opt-in page without opting in. And those are the people we want to retarget. So again, when those people leave and they head over to Facebook, they see this ad right here, pulling them back to our dedicated opt-in page. Now, let's look at an example for capturing sales. So we have a product that we sell at Freelance Writing Riches called the Ultimate Client Getting Masterclass, which we sell for $7. So the offer page URL for this product is freelanceinnercircle.com/masterclassvid, and the thank you page URL is freelanceinnercircle.com/thankyou1.html. So visually, visitors are flowing to our offer page at freelanceinnercircle.com/masterclassvid, and if they purchase the product, they'll be directed to our thank you page at thankyou1.html. However, of course, some people are hitting that offer page and leaving, and those are the people that we want to retarget through Facebook. So we show an ad that looks like this, Total Client Getting Mastery, and that ad when clicked leads back to that original offer page. So what we're going to do now is set up a lead capture retargeting campaign on Facebook. So if you've never set up a retargeting campaign before and one of your objectives is to build as big of a subscriber list as possible, then this is where I recommend that you start. Get your feet wet with Facebook, and once you're seeing success, you have a couple of different options. So one option is you could open up a Google Display Network advertising account and you could roll out the same retargeting campaign there. So that way now you're covering Facebook and pretty much the rest of the web. Or your second option is to pause your Facebook retargeting campaign, open up a perfect audience account, and then set up a campaign there. And then that way, again, perfect audience will give you coverage at Facebook. It will also give you coverage pretty much throughout the rest of the web. So you've got two different options there for full web coverage. But again, to get going and to get your feet wet with retargeting, I recommend setting up a lead capture retargeting campaign on Facebook. So that's what we're going to do right now. From within your Facebook advertising account, go ahead and click on Tools, and from the drop-down, click on Audiences. When you click there, you'll see a screen like this. In the left, you'll see a button that says Create Audience. Click on that, and click on Custom Audience. You'll see a screen like this, and you want to click on the second option there, Website Traffic, at which point you'll see a pop-up that looks like this. This is where you're going to be able to tell Facebook who you want your ad displayed to, because you don't want your ad displayed to everybody who visits your site, because some people are going to opt in, and you don't want your ad displayed to those people who opt in. You only want your ad displayed to people who come to your website and don't opt in. So you can see right here, the setting is currently set by default to anyone who visits your website, but we need to change that. So it's at this point that you want to refer back to those URLs that you identified earlier for your campaign objective. So again, our objective is to retarget people who have left without opting in. So we've got our offer page URLs there where people are going to get our lead offer, and we've got our thank you page URL there. We want to tell Facebook to retarget people who visit those offer page URLs but don't end up visiting that thank you page URL. So if I click on anyone who visits your website, you'll see a couple options there, and I'm going to click on people visiting specific web pages but not others. So when I click that, the interface changes like this, and from there I can enter my offer page URLs and my thank you page URL. So let's start with our offer page URLs. So I've set this section to URL contains, and then next to it you can see the home page of my site, freelancewritingriches.com. So I'm telling Facebook to include any URL on that domain, freelancewritingriches.com, because remember, my opt-in form is displayed on lots of different pages on that site. So I want to take all of those pages into account. Now you can see next to freelancewritingriches.com it says or, and then I've listed the URL of my dedicated opt-in page. So those are my two offer pages. So I'm saying I want to include people who visit any web page that meets those rules. And then below that, under exclude people who visit any web page that meets the following rules, I set this to URL equals, and I've put in my thank you page. So what am I doing here? I'm telling Facebook that I want them to segment anyone who comes to any of the pages on my blog or comes to my dedicated opt-in page, but doesn't end up reaching my thank you page. Now, once you've set that part up the way you want it, you'll want to name your audience. You can call your audience whatever you want, but I would recommend calling it something that's descriptive of what it actually is. So for my audience name, I'm calling it FWR Visitors, so Freelance Writing Riches Visitors, no opt-in. And then I'm going to click on Create Audience, and when I do that, I'll be given a thank you message. As you can see, clicking the OK button, we'll be taken back to our main audiences page, and there's the audience we just created right there. FWR visitors, no opt-in. So just to tie things together here, remember we've already installed the Facebook pixel on our site. So that Facebook pixel is tracking everybody who hits our site. In this step, we're telling that Facebook what to do exactly. We're telling Facebook to identify and set aside all those people who leave without opting in and segment them into this custom audience right here. The final step in this process is to set up our ad so that the people who are filtered into that custom audience we just set up see this specific ad, taking them back to our lead offer page. So I'll show you the basics of setting up your ad right now. So I'm in my Facebook Ad Center, and for this type of ad, I'm going to click on Increase Conversions on your website because we want to increase conversions. A conversion is any time someone takes the action that you want them to take on your site. And we have a very specific action we want people to take, which is opting in. So I'm going to click on Increase Conversions on your website. And that's going to help Facebook optimize our ad to get the best results. So clicking on that you'll see some information displayed to the right there. And in this field here, I'm going to enter the URL of the page I want people to go to after clicking my ad. That's the URL of my opt-in page. And below that, you can specify what's called a conversion pixel. So a conversion pixel will help track the performance of your ads. That's outside the scope of this video though. If you want to learn more about conversion pixels and ad tracking, then refer to Facebook's documentation. They have some great information on how to set that up. So once you've entered those two things, click on Set Audience and Budget, and you'll see a screen like this. And right here is where we're going to choose that custom audience that we set up earlier. So clicking on Browse, that will bring up all of your custom audiences. You can see I've set up a bunch of them already. That's the one we just set up together, FWR visitors no opt-in. So I would select that, and right there, that's telling Facebook that for this specific ad, I want only people who have been filtered into that custom audience to see it. So you can see the audience name right there. And then I would simply proceed through the rest of the steps on this page to set up and launch my ad. I'm not going to go through those steps right now, but again, go to facebook.com/blueprint. Facebook has great training there on how to use their ad platform, so I highly recommend checking that out to learn the exact steps to setting up your ad. But once this ad is launched, again, it's going to look like this. When people go to their Facebook account, they're going to see an ad that looks like this. When they click it, they'll be taken over to my opt-in page. So this process that we just went through with Facebook is the same for all the platforms we've talked about in this video. You would simply install your pixel, define your audience, and load and run your ad. So again, one option at this stage, if you've set up a Facebook retargeting campaign to capture leads, is to set up the same campaign, but do it through the Google Display Network. That way you can move beyond Facebook and tap into a much larger pool of advertisers and get much, much closer to full web coverage. Or after you've gotten your feet wet with Facebook and things are looking good, you can stop your Facebook campaign altogether and at that point move over to Perfect Audience. And from there you can set up your retargeting campaign and have that rolled out to Facebook and throughout pretty much the entire web, all from within Perfect Audience, which centralizes things. Once you've launched your retargeting campaign and you've locked in that return traffic, you should really pat yourself on the back, and you'll have the satisfaction at that stage of knowing that you're really, truly maximizing your traffic. So that wraps it up for this video. In the next video, we're going to talk about content and how injecting content into this perpetual traffic machine will continue to make it stronger and stronger and stronger. I'm going to talk about that and show you how and why that works and how to go about implementing it in the easiest way possible. So meet me in the next video and we'll continue.